The massive chamber of the Galactic Council stretched out like a crystal cathedral. Thousands of alien beings filled the floating platforms, their forms strange and beautiful. Some looked like living diamonds that caught the light. Others appeared as glowing clouds of energy that shifted colors. The strangest ones moved like a single creature with many bodies, thinking the same thoughts together. Ambassador Minho walked through the center aisle with his small human team. His boots clicked on the smooth floor while alien eyes watched him. Some aliens whispered in languages that sounded like music or grinding stones. Others made no sound at all but communicated through flashing lights or chemical smells. Chief Engineer Hana walked beside him, her tablet showing data that made her frown. Military Advisor June stayed close behind, his hand never far from his weapon. Not that it would help much here. The three humans looked tiny compared to the massive aliens around them. For 300 years, humans had come to this place. They solved problems that other species could not fix. They built things that should not work. They found answers when everyone else gave up. But they were never treated as equals. They were tools. Useful tools, but still just tools. The crystal beings called Veltar spoke first. Their leader's voice rang like bells. Humans have caused disorder again. The mining operation in Sector 7 created chaos. The energy beings in that system are angry. Minho sighed. We fixed their failing star. It was going to explode and kill billions. Yes, we had to work fast and break some rules, but everyone lived. Rules exist for order, said the Veltar leader. Humans always break rules. A cloud of energy that was a nethys being pulsed with red light. Humans are dangerous. They experiment with forces they do not understand. They should be controlled better. The hive mind Kroken spoke with one voice from 100 bodies. We agree. Humans cause problems. They need stronger limits. Minho felt his anger growing. How many times had they had this same conversation? How many times had humans saved alien lives only to be told they were dangerous? He looked at Hana, who gave him a small nod. She had been expecting this. The Veltar leader continued. The Galactic Council has decided humans will give up all independent technology development. All human research will be supervised by council members. All human military forces will be disbanded. Humans will work only on projects approved by the council. The chamber fell silent. Even the always chattering energy beings stopped their constant humming. Every alien eye focused on the three humans standing in the center. Minho felt his heart pounding. This was it. This was what they had been afraid would happen. Complete surrender. They wanted to turn humanity into slaves who could think. No, Minho said quietly. What did you say? The Veltar leader's voice cracked like breaking glass. I said no. Minho's voice grew stronger. Humans reject this demand. We will not become your property. Laughter filled the chamber. Not happy laughter, but the cruel kind. The aliens found it funny that humans thought they had a choice. You cannot survive without the council, said a nethys being. You use our trade routes. You live on worlds we allow you to use. You are nothing without us. Your technology is primitive, added a Krokan voice. You need our guidance. Without us, you will destroy yourselves. More laughter echoed through the chamber. The aliens had heard human threats before. They always came back. Humans always needed something from the galactic community. Food, fuel, protection, trade. Humans were tough, but they were not stupid enough to try living alone. Minho looked at his teammates again. Hana was checking her tablet. Whatever she saw there made her smile slightly. June just nodded once, then we will leave, Minho said. Effective immediately, humanity withdraws from the Galactic Council. We want nothing more from you. We will return to our own space and stay there. The laughter got louder. A Veltar council member that looked like a walking mountain of crystal spoke up. You cannot be serious. Humans have been part of galactic civilization for centuries. You cannot just walk away. Watch us, Minho said. He turned and started walking toward the exit. Hana and June followed him. Wait! The Veltar leader's voice boomed. You are making a mistake. Come back and we can discuss terms. Minho did not stop walking. There is nothing to discuss. You want slaves. We want freedom. These things cannot be compromised. You will be back, called out a nethys being. When your ships break down, when your colonies fail, when you realize you cannot survive alone, you will come back begging. When you do, added the Krokan hive mind, the terms will be much worse. Minho reached the exit doors. They slid open with a soft whisper. He paused and looked back at the thousands of alien beings watching him. Maybe we will fail, he said. Maybe we cannot survive on our own. But we would rather die free than live as your tools. The three humans walked out. The doors closed behind them with a final click. In the chamber, the alien sat in stunned silence for a moment. Then the talking started again. Most of them were still laughing. Humans were proud and stubborn, but they were not stupid. They would realize their mistake soon enough. The Veltar leader spoke to the assembly. Begin preparing sanctions against human space. When they return, they will accept any terms we offer. But deep in the crystal being's mind, a small worry grew. Humans had always been different. They solved problems in ways that made no sense. They succeeded when they should have failed. They survived things that should have killed them. What if this time was different? What if humans really could survive alone? The worry was small and easy to ignore. After all, what could humans possibly know that the galaxy's oldest and wisest species did not? Outside the chamber, Minho and his team walked quickly toward their ship. Other human ships throughout the galaxy were already receiving orders to return home. The exodus had begun. Hana looked at her tablet again. The data there showed readings that would have terrified the Galactic Council if they had bothered to look. But they never asked humans what they were really doing out there among the stars. That was their first mistake. It would not be their last. Dr. Soman stared at the data on her screen and felt sick. The numbers were bad, worse than bad. They were impossible. She stood in the deepest laboratory on Earth, surrounded by machines that hummed and clicked. The room was carved from solid rock 2 miles underground. It was the safest place on the planet for the kind of research she did. Research that could accidentally destroy solar systems if something went wrong. General Wook walked into the lab, his heavy boots echoing in the stone chamber. He looked tired. Everyone looked tired these days. The news from the Galactic Council had reached Earth 6 hours ago. Humanity was coming home, is it true? Wook asked. Are we really leaving Council space? Yes, Soman said without looking away from her screen. Ambassador Minho refused their demands. All human ships are returning to our systems. Good, Wook said firmly. We should have done this years ago. Let the aliens solve their own problems for once. Soman finally turned around. Her face was pale and her hands were shaking slightly. General, we cannot leave. If we do, everything dies, Wook frowned. What do you mean, everything? I mean everything. Every star, every planet, every living thing in the galaxy, maybe in the universe. Soman's voice was barely a whisper. She pressed a button and the room's walls lit up with images, star charts, energy readings, mathematical equations that stretched across entire walls. The general stared at the display but could not understand what he was seeing. 3 years ago, my team discovered something strange, Samin began. Space itself is not stable. Reality is held together by conscious intervention. We found proof that an ancient race built machines throughout the galaxy, millions of them. They keep the universe from falling apart. What happened to these ancient builders? Wook asked. They died out 10 million years ago. Their machines have been running automatically since then. But the machines are breaking down. Without maintenance, they fail one by one. Dr. Kyung entered the lab carrying a stack of data tablets. He was Soman's research partner, and the only other person on Earth who fully understood what they had discovered. The readings are getting worse, Kyung said. Sector 12 just lost another stability node. That makes 47 failures in the past month. Soman nodded grimly. Show him the maintenance records. Kyung activated a holographic display in the center of the room. It showed the galaxy as a web of glowing points connected by lines of energy. Some points pulsed with steady light. Others flickered weakly. Too many were dark. Each light is a stability machine, Kyung explained. When they work properly, they keep space-time stable in their region. When they fail, reality starts to break down. Wook studied the display. How many have failed? About 30%, Somin answered. The rate of failure is increasing. We estimate complete system collapse within 18 months. But you said conscious intervention was needed. Who is providing that now? Soman and Kyung looked at each other. This was the part that would be hardest to explain. We are, Somin said. Humans are. We have been doing it without knowing it for 300 years. Wook stared at her. That is impossible. We would know if we were maintaining alien machines, would we? Kyung asked. Look at this data. The holographic display changed, showing human colonies and trade routes throughout the galaxy. Each human settlement appeared as a blue dot. Each trade route showed as a blue line. "Now watch this," Kyung said. He overlaid the stability machine locations onto the same map. Wook gasped. Every human colony was built near a stability machine. Every major human trade route connected multiple machines. The patterns matched perfectly. "This cannot be coincidence," Wook said slowly. "It is not," Soman confirmed. "Somehow humans are drawn to these locations. Our colonies always choose sites near failing machines. Our mining operations always happen where stability nodes need reinforcement. Our research stations always end up studying phenomena that help maintain reality. But we never knew we were doing this." Wook protested. "The machines are designed to guide species without their knowledge," Kyung explained. "They create subconscious attractions. Make certain locations seem more appealing for settlement. Make certain research directions seem more promising." Soman pulled up another display. "Other species are not affected the same way. The Veltar ignore the machines completely. The Nethys cannot even detect them. The Krokan know they exist but do not understand their purpose. Only humans respond to the guidance signals," Kyung added. "Only human technology is compatible with the maintenance systems. We think it is because humans are chaotic enough to adapt to alien technology, but organized enough to make it work better." Wook sat down heavily in a chair. The implications were staggering. "So when the Galactic Council calls us chaotic and unpredictable, they are describing exactly the traits that keep the universe stable," Soman finished. "Our willingness to experiment, to take risks, to try impossible things. These are not flaws, they are features. Every time humans fix an impossible problem, we are really fixing a reality maintenance machine," Kyung said. "Every time we build something that should not work, we are improving the stability network. The aliens think we are dangerous because we break their rules," Soman continued. "But their rules only work in stable spacetime. The machines that create that stability need constant adjustment and repair. Humans provide that repair work." Wook stood up and began pacing. "So if we leave Council space, the machines fail faster. Reality becomes unstable. Stars start dying. Planets fall out of orbit. Time itself begins to break down." Soman's voice was grim. "How long do we have? If all humans leave immediately, maybe 6 months before the first major collapses. 18 months before total system failure." Kyung activated another display. "We've been tracking the early warning signs. Temporal anomalies near systems where humans recently left. Energy fluctuations in sectors where we closed research stations. The aliens probably have not noticed yet because the effects start small. But they will notice soon," Soman said. "When their own homeworlds start experiencing problems they cannot explain." Wook was quiet for a long time, studying the displays around him. Finally he spoke. "Does Ambassador Minho know about this?" "We sent the data to his ship an hour ago," Kyung replied. "Along with our recommendations, which are?" "Humanity has 3 choices," Somin said. "We can return to our old role as the galaxy's secret maintenance crew. We can let the galaxy die and hope we can escape to another galaxy. Or we can reveal the truth and force the aliens to accept us as equals. What do you recommend?" Soman smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "I recommend we let them sweat for a while. Let them see what the universe looks like without humans taking care of it. Then we negotiate from a position of strength. And if we wait too long, if the damage becomes irreversible, then we all die together," Kyung said simply. "But at least we die as free beings, not as slaves." Wook nodded slowly. The choice was terrible, but it was the only choice they had. Humanity would gamble with the universe itself rather than accept slavery. The question was whether the aliens would figure out the truth before it was too late to save themselves. Captain Yoonji watched the impossible happen through her ship's main viewer. The star system before her was aging 1,000 years every minute. She could see the star growing redder and larger while its planets withered and died. Time itself was broken here. Her ship, the last human observation post at the galaxy's edge, hung in empty space just outside the chaos. The readings on her instruments made no sense. Physics was failing in that system and the breakdown was spreading. "Captain," called out her science officer, Lieutenant Dane, "I'm detecting temporal shears in the next system over. It's spreading faster than our models predicted." Yoonji nodded grimly. 6 months had passed since humanity left Council space. For the first few weeks, nothing had happened. The aliens had been smug, waiting for humans to come crawling back. They had been certain that humans could not survive without galactic civilization. They had been wrong about many things. "Any word from the fleet?" Yoonji asked. Ambassador Minho's ship is 3 days out from the Andromeda Gateway, Communications Officer Ray reported. Most of our colony ships have already made the jump to the new galaxy. And the aliens? Still trying to contact us. The messages are getting more desperate. Yoonji had been listening to those messages for weeks. At first, they had been angry demands for humanity to return and accept punishment for leaving. Then they had become confused requests for help with strange phenomena. Now they were barely hidden pleas for assistance. The aliens were finally starting to understand that something was very wrong. On her command screen, Yoonji could see data feeds from across the galaxy. The picture they painted was terrifying. Entire sectors were experiencing reality failures. The crystal homeworld of the Veltar was phasing in and out of normal space. Sometimes it was there, sometimes it simply did not exist. The energy beings called Nethys were having an even worse time. Their consciousness depended on stable quantum fields. As space-time became unstable, they were losing cohesion. Individual Nethys were splitting into fragments or merging into confused masses that could no longer think clearly. The Krokan hive mind was fragmenting as quantum entanglement across their empire became unreliable. Parts of their collective consciousness were becoming isolated, creating separate hive minds that did not recognize each other. Captain, incoming priority message, Ray announced. It's from the Galactic Council. Put it through. The main screen changed to show Council member Zethkol of the Veltar. The crystal being looked different than before. Parts of his body flickered like a bad hologram. Reality distortions were affecting him personally now. Captain Yoonji. Zethkol's voice was strained. I am authorized to speak for the entire Galactic Council. We need to talk. I'm listening, Yoonji replied. Strange things are happening throughout the galaxy. Systems are failing in ways we do not understand. Our scientists cannot explain what we are seeing. What kind of strange things? Zethkol's image flickered worse for a moment. Time distortions. Spatial anomalies. Stars behaving in impossible ways. Planets suddenly aging millions of years or becoming frozen in temporal loops. That does sound serious, Yoonji said carefully. Our data suggests these phenomena started shortly after humans left Council space. We believe there may be a connection. Yoonji almost smiled. The aliens were finally asking the right questions. Unfortunately for them, they were asking 6 months too late. What kind of connection do you think there might be? We are not certain, but our records show that humans were often present in systems where similar problems occurred before, problems that stopped when humans arrived to help. Are you saying humans caused these problems before? No. Zethkol's voice became very quiet. We think humans were fixing them. We think you have been fixing them for centuries and we never realized it. There it was, the admission Yoonji had been waiting for. That's an interesting theory, she said. Captain, please. If this is true, we need human help immediately. The breakdowns are accelerating. We estimate complete system failure within months. Complete system failure? Reality collapse. The total breakdown of space-time throughout the galaxy. Everything dies. Yoonji was quiet for a long moment. She had known this day would come, but hearing it from an alien's mouth made it real in a way that data reports could not. I will pass your message to my superiors, she finally said. Wait, Zethkol said desperately. The Council is prepared to offer humanity anything you want. Full membership with voting rights, technology sharing agreements, territory grants, anything. That's very generous. But humanity has already made its choice. We're leaving for Andromeda. Our colony ships are already through the gateway. You cannot leave us to die. Why not? Yoonji's voice became hard. You called us chaotic and dangerous. You said we were too primitive to govern ourselves. You tried to make us your slaves. Why should we care what happens to you now? Zethkol's image flickered wildly as reality distortions increased around him. Because you are better than we are. Because you would not let billions of innocent beings die for the sins of their leaders. Yoonji felt a stab of guilt. But she pushed it down. This was not her decision to make. She was just the messenger. I will pass along your words, she repeated. The transmission ended. Yoonji stared at the blank screen for a moment, then turned to her crew. Continue monitoring the situation. Record everything. The fleet leaders will need all the data we can provide. Yes, Captain, Dane replied. Should we begin preparations to leave? Yoonji looked back at the main viewer, where the dying star system continued its impossible death spiral. Somewhere in that chaos, Billions of beings were dying as reality collapsed around them. Similar scenes were playing out across the galaxy. Ancient civilizations that had ruled for millions of years were helpless against forces they had never bothered to understand. "Not yet," she said quietly. "We have orders to observe until the last possible moment. What are we waiting for?" A decision. The most important decision in human history. Through her ship's sensors, Yunji could detect more systems beginning to fail. The cascade was accelerating. Soon the breakdowns would reach critical mass and become unstoppable. Humanity had perhaps days to choose between escape and salvation, between freedom and responsibility, between letting the galaxy die and saving the beings who had tried to enslave them. In the distance, another star began its impossible death dance as time itself came undone around it. Ambassador Minho stood before the largest holographic display he had ever seen. It showed the galaxy dying in real time. Red zones spread like infection across the star map, marking systems where reality had completely broken down. Yellow zones showed areas where time flowed at wrong speeds. Green zones, the few that remained stable, grew smaller every hour. The human fleet hung at the edge of Andromeda, just beyond the point of no return. Behind them, their home galaxy collapsed. Ahead lay a new galaxy with new worlds to explore. The choice should have been simple. It was not simple at all. Dr. Soman's voice came through the communication system from her mobile laboratory ship. "The cascade is accelerating beyond our worst predictions. We're seeing reality breakdowns in sectors that should have been stable for years." "How long do we have?" Minho asked. "If we return immediately and begin repairs, maybe we can stop the collapse. If we wait another week, the damage becomes irreversible. Not just for our galaxy, but for the entire local group. The instability will spread to Andromeda, to every galaxy within 10 million light-years." Admiral Tay, commander of the human fleet, stepped forward. "So we have a choice. Save ourselves or save everyone." "That's correct," Somin confirmed. "If we return to repair the ancient machines, we can stabilize reality. But we'll be trapped. The repair work will require constant human presence for thousands of years, maybe forever." Minho felt the weight of the decision crushing down on him. Humanity had fought for freedom for 3 centuries. They had finally broken free from alien control. Now they had to choose between that freedom and the survival of trillions of beings. "Sir," Communications Officer Lim announced, "priority transmission from the Galactic Council." "Put it through." The display changed to show the Grand Council leader Nimtar of the Veltar. The massive crystal being looked terrible. Parts of his body were transparent, as if he was fading from existence. Behind him, other council members flickered in and out of reality. "Ambassador Minho," Nimtar's voice was weak. "I speak for all the surviving species of the galaxy. We were wrong. About everything." "Go on," Minho said. "We never understood what humans were doing. We thought you were chaotic and dangerous. We never realized you were holding the universe together. And now we are dying, all of us. The Nethys consciousness has fragmented into millions of pieces. The Krokan hive mind has split into warring factions. My own people phase in and out of existence like ghosts." Minho could see the desperation in the alien leader's crystalline face. "What are you asking for?" "Help, please, we will give humanity anything. Complete autonomy. Leadership of the Galactic Council. Access to all our technology. Territory, resources, anything you want. And in return, save us, save the galaxy. Be what you have always been, but this time with the recognition you deserve." The transmission ended. Minho turned to Admiral Tay and Dr. Somin. "Can we do it? Can we actually save them?" Dr. Somin's image appeared on a secondary screen. "Yes, but the cost will be enormous. We'll need to build a network of quantum anchors throughout the galaxy. Each anchor requires a human operator who must remain linked to the machine for their entire life." "How many operators?" "At least 10,000 initially. Maybe more as the network expands." Admiral Tay crossed his arms. "So we're talking about sacrificing 10,000 humans to save aliens who tried to enslave us." "It's more complicated than that." Dr. Kyung's voice joined the conversation. "The operators won't exactly be sacrificed. They'll be enhanced, linked to machines that will extend their lives and expand their consciousness. They'll become something more than human. But they can never leave," Minho pointed out. "They'll be bound to those machines forever." "Yes, it's the price of keeping the universe stable." Minho was quiet for a long time. Around him, the bridge crew waited for his decision. Through the viewports, he could see the first human colony ships preparing to enter Andromeda. Freedom was so close, but behind them, an entire galaxy was dying. "Admiral," Minho finally said, "how many volunteers do we have for suicide missions?" Tay smiled grimly. "Sir, this is the human fleet. We have volunteers for everything." "Then ask for volunteers for this. Explain exactly what it means. They'll be saving the galaxy, but they'll never be free again. And if we don't get enough volunteers, then we go to Andromeda and let the galaxy die. I won't force anyone to make this sacrifice." Within hours, the responses started coming in. Captain Yunji volunteered to return and oversee the quantum anchor network. Chief Engineer Hana volunteered to become one of the first operators. Thousands of other humans stepped forward, knowing they would spend the rest of their lives linked to alien machines. More volunteers than they needed. Dr. Samin's voice came through the communicator again. "Ambassador, there's something else you should know. Our analysis suggests that once the quantum anchor network is established, humanity will effectively control the fundamental forces that keep reality stable." "What does that mean?" "It means we'll be the most powerful species in the universe. Any race that threatens us threatens the stability of reality itself. It's the ultimate deterrent." Minho nodded slowly. Humanity had learned the hard way that freedom could not be given. It had to be taken, and sometimes it had to be earned through sacrifice. "Send word to Captain Yunji," he ordered. "Begin Phase 1 of the return operation. Volunteers only. What about the rest of the fleet?" "The rest of us continue to Andromeda. We establish colonies there as planned. If the galaxy survives, we'll have a backup home. If it doesn't, at least some humans will continue." Admiral Tay saluted. "A wise decision, sir. We save them, but we don't put all our eggs in one basket." As the first ships turned back toward the dying galaxy, Minho watched them go. Those crews were flying back to save beings who had never respected them. They were sacrificing their freedom to preserve the freedom of others. It was the most human thing imaginable. On the long-range sensors, he could see more systems failing every hour. Reality was unraveling faster than anyone had predicted. The volunteers would have very little time to establish the quantum anchor network, but if anyone could do the impossible, it was humans. After all, they had been doing the impossible for 300 years. They just had not known it. Dr. Soman felt the universe hold its breath. She stood in the command center of the massive quantum anchor that humans had built in the galaxy's core. Around her, displays showed the status of 10,000 similar anchors scattered throughout known space. Each one was operated by a human volunteer whose consciousness had been linked to the ancient builder machines. The volunteers had changed. Their bodies remained human, but their minds had expanded beyond normal limits. They could feel the flow of space-time itself, sense distortions across light years, and make adjustments that kept reality stable. They were no longer entirely human. But they were still human enough to care about freedom. "Summon," came the voice of Captain Yunji through the quantum link. She was operating an anchor in the outer rim. Her consciousness spread across a dozen star systems. "All stations report ready. The network is complete." "Confirmed," replied Chief Engineer Hana from her anchor near the Veltar homeworld. Her voice had an odd quality now, as if it came from everywhere at once. "We have full coverage of the galaxy." Salman took a deep breath and placed her hand on the activation control. "Beginning universe stabilization in 3, 2, 1 now." The effect was immediate and breathtaking. Across the galaxy, reality snapped back into focus like a picture coming into sharp relief. Dying stars returned to normal. Planets stopped aging rapidly or froze in time. The crystal beings of the Veltar became solid again. The energy beings called Nethys pulled their scattered consciousness back together. The Krokan hive mind reconnected across their empire, suddenly able to think as one again. The universe was saved, but everything had changed. Ambassador Minho materialized in the command center via quantum teleportation, having returned from the Andromeda colonies for this moment. His image appeared before the reformed Galactic Council, which was meeting an emergency session on their homeworlds. "The crisis is over," Minho announced. "Reality has been stabilized throughout the galaxy." Grand Council leader Nimtar of the Veltar spoke first. His crystalline form was solid again, but his voice was humble. "How can we thank you? How can we repay this debt?" "You cannot," Minho said simply. "The debt is too large. Instead, we will discuss new terms for galactic civilization. What terms? Asked a Nethys representative, its energy form pulsing nervously. First, humanity is no longer subject to Galactic Council authority. We are an independent power with equal status to any other species. Agreed, Nimtar said immediately. Second, human colonies and territory are inviolate. No alien species may enter human space without permission. Agreed. Third, humans will continue to maintain the quantum anchor network that keeps reality stable. In exchange, every species in the galaxy will contribute resources and technology to support this work. The aliens had no choice but to agree. They had seen what happened when the ancient machines failed. Without human maintenance, the universe itself would collapse. There is one more thing, Minho continued. The quantum anchor network gives humanity effective control over the fundamental forces of reality. Any species that threatens humans threatens the stability of the universe itself. The council members fell silent. They understood the implications. Humanity had become too important to attack, too valuable to oppose, too powerful to ignore. Engineer Hana's voice came through the quantum link from her anchor station. Ambassador, we're receiving a transmission from the Andromeda Galaxy. Put it through. A new alien appeared on the display. This being looked like flowing liquid metal with multiple arms and faces. Its voice was musical but worried. I am Coordinator Vix of the Andromeda Council, it said. We have been monitoring the reality distortions in your galaxy. We are experiencing similar problems here. Minho smiled. How interesting. And what would you like from us? Help. Guidance. We have heard that a species called humans has found a way to stabilize universal forces. We would like to meet with these humans. I'm sure that can be arranged, Minho replied. We'll need to discuss terms, of course. As the transmission ended, Minho looked around the command center. Through the quantum link, he could sense the 10,000 human operators maintaining reality across the galaxy. They were no longer ordinary humans, but they were still human in the ways that mattered. Dr. Kyung appeared beside him via hologram from his research station. Sir, our long-range sensors are detecting similar instabilities in several nearby galaxies. It seems this problem is universal. How many galaxies? At least 50 within our sensor range. Possibly more. Minho nodded thoughtfully. Humanity had solved one galaxy's problems, but the universe was vast. There would always be more work to do, more crises to solve, more species that needed saving. And humanity would be there to help them. For a price, Soman, he said. Begin preparations for expanded operations. It seems we have more customers than we thought. Dr. Soman smiled from her position at the quantum anchor controls. Around her, streams of data showed the stable universe they had created. Already working on it. We'll need more anchors, more operators, more ships. And more colonies in Andromeda, added Admiral Tay's voice from the human fleet. Our backup civilization is growing nicely. 50 worlds already established. Captain Yunji's consciousness touched theirs through the quantum link. The Veltar homeworld is stable now. They're asking if they can send a delegation to thank us personally. Tell them they can send gifts instead, Minho replied. Very expensive gifts. Laughter echoed through the quantum link from human operators across the galaxy. They were bound to their machines, but they were not unhappy. They had become something greater than they were before. They were the guardians of reality itself. 3 years later, Minho stood before the new Galactic Assembly. It was larger than the old council, including species from 12 different galaxies. All of them had the same problem. Reality instability that only humans could fix. All of them paid the same price. Complete acceptance of human authority in matters of universal stability. Humanity had walked away from the Galactic Council and the universe had collapsed. But from that collapse, they had built something new, something better. They were no longer the galaxy's servants or its tools. They were its protectors, its guardians, its indispensable foundation. And everyone knew it. The species that had once called humans chaotic and dangerous now begged for their help. The beings who had tried to make humans into slaves now served humanity's greater purpose. Freedom, Minho had learned, was not about being left alone. It was about being so valuable that no one could afford to oppose you. Humanity had found the ultimate freedom. They controlled the forces that kept existence itself from falling apart. They had become the foundation upon which the universe stood, and they would never be slaves again.